chosen one. Pause and breathe. You are not here by accident. This moment has been divinely arranged, aligned and appointed for your spirit to hear what heaven has been whispering. You didn't stumble onto this message, you were summoned. The timing is too precise, the pull on your spirit too strong. This is what Scripture calls a kairos moment, the kind spoken of in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, when the Lord said the vision will come at the appointed time. Chosen one, that appointed time is no longer approaching. It has arrived. You are standing at the very edge of a supernatural shift, an awakening, a recalibration, a divine transformation that could unfold today, tonight, or in the coming hours. Heaven has interrupted your routine because something heavy, holy, and history-shaping is drawing near. The signs have already been stirring in your spirit, the restlessness, the sensitivity, the unexplained weight in the atmosphere. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. This introduction is not merely an opening, it is an invocation, a prophetic summons to rise in awareness, to anchor yourself, to prepare your spirit for what God is releasing in this hour. Chosen one, the clock of heaven has struck its moment. You are stepping into divine timing now. Chosen one. Before we move deeper, I need you to hear this with your whole spirit. The restlessness you've been feeling, the heaviness in the atmosphere, the sudden waves of emotion, the strange sensitivity you can't explain. None of it is random. Heaven has already begun shifting your timeline, and your spirit feels the pull before your mind understands it. You are standing at the threshold of a divine mission, one that has been written into your destiny long before you were even aware of it. The year 2026 will not be ordinary for you. It will be defining, not because of the darkness the world will face, but because of the acceleration heaven is placing on your life. You're being stretched, pressed, awakened and recalibrated because something sacred is approaching your story. And whether you feel prepared or not, heaven has already chosen you for a supernatural promotion. Many chosen ones don't feel ready when their moment arrives. They feel unqualified, unseen, or imperfect. But destiny does not wait for perfection. It waits for obedience. And the truth is, even in seasons where life felt heavy, confusing, or completely silent, your heart kept whispering yes to God. That yes is why you are being positioned now. Let me share something personal with you. I once lived a season where everything around me felt like it was collapsing: finances, tightening relationships, shifting clarity, fading, and nothing making sense. I kept asking God why everything felt so heavy and why it felt like I was losing things I thought were stable. Then, one night in the quiet space where the soul becomes honest, I felt a whisper within me. I'm not taking from you. I'm clearing space for what I'm sending next. That message was not only for me, it is now for you, chosen one. The heaviness you feel is not punishment, it is preparation, it is spiritual conditioning, it is heaven strengthening your inner frame to carry the weight of the glory, responsibility, and blessing that is approaching you. You are being prepared not for survival, but for carrying something extraordinary. Look around your life and you'll see the clues, the friendships that faded, the sudden need for solitude, the financial pressure that forced you to rethink your priorities, the dreams that feel too vivid to ignore, the pull toward prayer, silence, and discernment, the sense that you don't fit where you used to. These are not coincidences, they are coordinates. Heaven is rearranging your environment like a master strategist, because what is coming to your life requires space depth and spiritual readiness. This is why you feel disconnected from people who once felt familiar. This is why certain environments feel too small for you now. This is why your desires are shifting, your spirit is expanding. There is a mystical truth many never grasp. Before God elevates someone publicly, he recalibrates them privately. The world sees the crown, but heaven sees the crushing that shaped the vessel. Chosen one, you have endured that crushing. You have walked through fire, disappointment, and silence. You have survived storms that could have broken you, and heaven has seen every moment, every tear, every sacrifice, every prayer whispered in exhaustion. Nothing you endured was wasted. Every experience was part of your training, and now heaven is drawing near with a return on that investment. You are not entering 2026 the way you entered previous years. You are entering as someone who has been prepared, stretched, tested and transformed. Your mission is awakening. Your spiritual mantle is strengthening. Your next chapter has already begun. Chosen one. The shift is not coming. It has already started. Chosen one. As we step deeper into what heaven is revealing, I need you to understand something profound. The heaviness surrounding 2026 is not meant to intimidate you. It is meant to identify you. The world will interpret the pressure as crisis, but the chosen will recognize it as calling. The spiritual climate is shifting, yes, but you are shifting with it. In fact, you are being lifted above it. Heaven is not merely preparing you to endure the coming year. Heaven is preparing you to rise in it. There is a divine paradox here. While many will feel overwhelmed by the weight of what is unfolding, you, chosen one, will feel something different, a strange steadiness, a supernatural clarity, a rising inner authority. This is because you are not moving into 2026 as a follower. You are being positioned as a carrier of light strategy and divine instruction. You are stepping into a year where your spiritual senses will sharpen, your intuition will strengthen, and your discernment will become almost prophetic in its accuracy. That is not by accident. It is your mantle awakening. You may have noticed it already, the way your spirit reacts to people, environments, conversations. Things you once tolerated now feel off. Noise irritates you. Shallow intentions drain you. Certain voices, even if familiar, no longer resonate. That's because heaven has elevated your frequency. You're being tuned to a higher spiritual wavelength, one that prepares you to receive divine instruction quickly and clearly. The distractions that used to work on you no longer do. The temptations that once pulled you are losing their power. You are outgrowing what once chained you. Chosen one, this is spiritual maturity unfolding inside you. I know this journey hasn't been easy. You've walked through seasons where everything felt uncertain, where you didn't know if God was silent or simply restructuring your life behind the scenes. You've had moments where you questioned your own strength, wondered if you misheard God, or feared that you were falling behind. But every moment of doubt, every tear you prayed through, every disappointment you survived, was part of your preparation. You were not being abandoned. You were being sharpened. You are becoming someone who can carry weight without collapsing. Someone who can lead without craving validation. Someone who can stand when others shake. Someone who can hear when others panic. Someone who can discern when others are deceived. Someone who can see spiritually even when the world goes blind. This is not an exaggeration. This is your divine assignment unfolding. And yes, 2026 will shake systems, nations, and individuals, but chosen one, you will not be shaken the same way. You will feel the tremors, but they will not break you. The pressure will come, but it will not crush you. The confusion around you will rise, but your clarity will deepen. You will walk through chaos the way light walks through darkness, unbothered, undefeated, unstoppable. And it is because heaven is aligning you for something much larger than survival. You are being prepared for divine responsibility. The coming year will demand voices who are anchored in truth, not emotion. Hearts that are steady, not reactive. Spirits that are awake, not distracted. Souls who walk with heaven's authority, not human fear. And whether you realize it or not, you are being trained to become one of those voices. A messenger, a stabilizer, a light bearer, a spiritual architect. Think about it. Every time you felt broken, you healed differently. Every time you were betrayed, you loved more wisely. Every time you were disappointed, you grew more patient. That's not normal. That's supernatural shaping. You are becoming a vessel heaven can trust. And the truth is, this 2026 will be heavy for those who are unprepared. But for you, chosen one, it will be a year of unveiling. A year where the clarity you've prayed for will finally manifest. A year where what has been hidden inside you for so long will come alive. A year where heaven's timing catches up with your readiness. You are not stepping into a storm. You are stepping into your spiritual assignment. Chosen one. As the spiritual horizon of 2026 draws nearer, heaven is urging you to recognize one of the most important truths about this coming season. You are not being prepared merely to witness divine movement. You are being prepared to participate in it. There is a sacred distinction between those who observe what heaven is doing and those who become vessels through which heaven moves. You, chosen one, are being fashioned into the latter. This is why you've been feeling a quiet internal shift, a pull toward depth, a desire for solitude, an instinct to detach from trivial conversations and shallow connections. It's not that you're becoming distant, it's that you're being set apart for clarity, set apart for revelation, set apart for divine instruction that cannot be delivered through noise. Heaven is pulling you into a spiritual chamber where distractions cannot follow. You may have wondered why certain things in your life no longer spark enthusiasm, why old habits feel empty, why certain desires have faded, why the things that once entertained you now feel like spiritual clutter. This is not burnout, it is refinement. Heaven is detoxing your spirit so you can carry what others cannot. Your appetite is changing because your assignment is changing. And as the world prepares for one of its heaviest years, heaven is preparing you for one of your most defining years. Do you feel it? That subtle shift in your awareness, that heightened intuition, that growing sensitivity. These are signs that you are stepping into a higher prophetic sight. You are beginning to see beyond the surface of things. You are recognizing spiritual motives behind natural events. You are catching whispers in the spirit that most overlook. This is not imagination. This is activation. You've likely noticed how quickly your spirit reacts lately, how immediately you sense falsehood, how sharply you discern energy when someone enters the room, how your dreams carry more detail, how your prayers feel heavier. Heaven is tuning your senses so you can navigate 2026 with supernatural intelligence. You are being equipped to move through that year with divine precision while others move with confusion. But understand this, chosen one supernatural promotion always begins with supernatural pruning. Heaven removes what cannot accompany you into your next dimension. That is why certain relationships have dissolved. That is why your social circle feels smaller. That is why you've been feeling isolated at times. It is not abandonment, it is alignment. Heaven removes noise before revealing strategy. And strategy is exactly what you will need because 2026 will not respond to human wisdom. It will respond to spiritual positioning. Heaven will give instructions that make no sense to the mind, but perfect sense to destiny. Move here. Stop that. Disconnect from this. Start building now. These promptings may seem random, but they are coordinates guiding you to divine opportunity. In the coming months, you will begin to understand why heaven needed to strengthen you. Your mission will expand. Your influence will grow. Your voice will carry more weight. Your presence will shift atmospheres. People will begin seeking your insight, not because you pushed yourself forward, but because heaven highlighted you. You won't need to advertise your calling. It will announce itself through your supernatural calm, your clarity, your wisdom, your resilience. The world may feel heavy in 2026, but you will feel purposeful. While others suffer from confusion, you will move with conviction. While others retreat in fear, you will rise in authority. While others cling to familiarity, you will step into destiny. Chosen one. This is your metamorphosis. You are not being prepared to break. You are being prepared to build. And the mission that awaits you will require the version of you heaven has been shaping through pressure, solitude, and spiritual transformation. Your preparation is not punishment. It is prophecy unfolding. Chosen one. As we continue deeper into this sacred revelation, understand that the heaviness of 2026 is not arriving to destroy the righteous, but to expose the fragile foundations of the world. The shaking that is coming will reveal what was true and what was illusion. Yet while the surface trembles, those anchored in divine alignment will rise like pillars of stability. And you, chosen one, are being crafted into one of those pillars. There is something profoundly mystical about the way heaven prepares its warriors. The training does not begin in public victories, but in private battles. You have fought wars in silence that no one knows about. Nights where you held yourself together through tears. Days where you walked through life with a calm face, while your soul was wrestling realities too deep to explain. Heaven saw all of it, and heaven used all of it. Every moment of endurance has expanded your spiritual capacity. This is why the anointing on your life feels heavier than before. This is why your discernment feels sharper. This is why your dreams feel prophetic. This is why your emotions feel more sensitive. You are not falling apart. Your spirit is evolving. Your soul is shedding old layers so you can carry higher revelation. The heaviness is not a burden. It is evidence that heaven is trusting you with spiritual weight. And trust me, chosen one, heaven does not place weight on the unprepared. There is a divine reason you survived storms others did not. There is a reason your spirit stayed tender when the world expected you to harden. There is a reason your heart remained open even after betrayal. There is a reason you kept believing despite the drought. The reason is simple. Heaven has called you to be a vessel of restoration in a season of global instability. A carrier of peace when fear floods the world, a messenger of clarity when confusion becomes its own currency, a stabilizing force when others collapse under pressure. Think of how many times life tried to break you. Think of how many times you came close to giving up. Think of how many times you felt overlooked or forgotten. Yet somehow you're still here, wiser, deeper, stronger, more intuitive. That is not coincidence. That is evidence. Evidence that you were sculpted for a divine mission that will awaken fully in 2026. You will notice something else. As this year approaches, heaven will begin giving you glimpses of your assignment. Sudden ideas, strong intuitions, opportunities that seem small but carry divine timing. People entering your life who feel spiritually familiar, a sense of being guided in a specific direction. These are not random, they are invitations. Heaven rarely reveals missions in full. Instead, heaven drops breadcrumbs that lead the faithful into destiny, and you, chosen one, are being guided by these breadcrumbs right now. Your spirit already knows the path. That tug you feel inside that inner knowing is not guesswork. It is the whisper of your calling. It is the echo of your future self calling you forward. It is the confirmation that your life is not entering disorder, but divine order. In 2026, the world will need voices that can speak truth with authority, love with purity, lead with humility, and discern with precision. Heaven is shaping you into such a voice that calms storms, a voice that exposes deception, a voice that awakens sleeping souls, a voice that carries enough spiritual gravity to shift atmospheres simply by standing in a room. You are not preparing for chaos. You are preparing for calling, and calling always requires transformation. Chosen one. The shift that is coming is not just around you, it is inside you. Chosen one. As the veil between realms thins, your spirit is beginning to sense things before they happen. You've noticed how certain situations feel familiar, even though you've never lived them. How you can predict outcomes before they unfold. How your inner knowing is becoming more accurate than what your eyes can see. This is not anxiety or imagination. It is spiritual foresight being awakened in you. Heaven is enlarging your capacity to perceive beyond the ordinary, because what is coming in 2026 requires a level of discernment that surpasses logic. You are not being prepared to react to events, you are being prepared to foresee them. Many around you might dismiss their intuition, suppress their spiritual instincts, or drown their sensitivity in distraction, but not you. You have been chosen to walk the earth with an awakened inner sight. You are being entrusted with glimpses of coming shifts, so you can position yourself and others correctly. This is why heaven has been intensifying the sensitivity of your spirit. You are being conditioned to notice what others miss. The soft changes in energy, the subtle shifts in people's intentions, the unspoken truth behind the words. This ability will protect you, but it will also elevate you. You may feel the weight of this gift at times, the burden of knowing things before others. The heaviness of being spiritually ahead of your environment, the loneliness that comes with being awake in a world that prefers sleep. But hear this clearly, chosen one. You are not strange. You are not too sensitive. You are spiritually calibrated. You are tuned differently because you are meant to lead, not follow. You are meant to stand, not scatter. Heaven sharpens the senses of those who will carry responsibility when others panic. And yes, responsibility is exactly what you're being prepared for. You will not enter 2026 as someone who merely tries to survive the shaking. You will enter as someone who understands the shaking. Someone who reads the spiritual weather, someone who discerns the atmosphere like a map, and someone who makes moves not based on fear, but on divine timing. Heaven is teaching you to move by revelation, not reaction. Think back to the moments in your life when you felt guided in ways you couldn't explain. The sudden push to walk away from an opportunity that looked perfect on paper. The strange resistance when you tried to force your way into a situation that wasn't meant for you. The unexpected urge to rest, to pray, to pause, or to wait. These weren't random impulses. They were rehearsals. They were training sessions. Heaven has been preparing you long before you understood the assignment. And this next part is important. The sensitivity you carry is not weakness. It is weapon. It is wisdom. It is how God speaks to you before he speaks to others. When you feel overwhelmed, it's not because you're fragile, it's because you're plugged in. You feel the tremors in the spirit realm before they touch earth. You sense the shift long before it becomes visible. That makes you a watchman, a guardian, a vessel of divine awareness. In 2026, people will look to you without knowing why. They will sense calm around you when the world feels chaotic. They will feel clarity in your words, even if you say little. They will feel safety in your presence, because your presence will carry the resonance of heaven's stability. This is not arrogance. This is mantle. This is spiritual responsibility. This is the evidence of someone who has been through enough fire to carry light without fear. Chosen one. You are stepping into a higher level of spiritual maturity. You are learning to navigate realms by instinct. You are learning to trust the Holy Spirit's whispers more than human voices. This internal transformation is part of your divine mission. And as the year of heaviness approaches, heaven is not merely warning you, heaven is crowning you. Your sensitivity is awakening. Your intuition is strengthening. Your prophetic instincts are sharpening. You are not being overwhelmed. You are being awakened. Chosen one. As heaven continues to shape you for what lies ahead, I need you to understand another crucial truth. The pressure you feel right now is not meant to break you. It is meant to reveal you. Most people fear pressure because they associate it with danger, failure, or collapse. But in the spiritual realm, pressure is proof of potential. Heaven does not apply weight to empty vessels, only to those destined to carry purpose, revelation, and authority. If you look back over your life, you'll notice that the seasons where you grew the most were not the seasons of comfort. They were the seasons of stretching, questioning, pruning, and breaking. They were the seasons where you were forced to confront who you were and who you were becoming. The moments when everything seemed to fall apart were actually the moments when heaven was quietly building you. Every disappointment carved depth. Every betrayal sharpened wisdom. Every loss created space. Every delay built endurance. This is why Chosen One Heaven has allowed certain things to collapse around you, not to punish you, but to purify your path. Some people couldn't stay because they weren't part of the mission. Some doors had to close because they weren't aligned with your destiny. Some opportunities had to fall through because they would have anchored you to a smaller life. Sometimes God protects you by withholding what you think you want. And as 2026 approaches, this purification process will make sense. You will look back and realize that heaven wasn't stripping you, it was positioning you. You were not losing stability, you were losing excess. You were not being isolated, you were being insulated. Heaven was preparing a vessel that could withstand spiritual turbulence, not crumble under it. But here's the deeper truth. Pressure is also the way heaven reveals hidden anointing. Some of the gifts inside you have never been activated because they only awaken under weight. The authority you will walk in next year will not be normal. It will not be learned. It will be birthed. And birth always requires pressure. This is why your spirit has been groaning, why you feel like something inside you is pushing to emerge. Why you sense that the life you are living no longer matches the person you are becoming. You are in spiritual labor. You are birthing a new identity. You are transitioning into your divine mission. Those sudden waves of emotion, labor. Those shifts in your appetite for certain environments, labor. Those moments where you feel your old self dying and a new self rising, labor. Those dreams that feel too intense to ignore, labor. The pressure is not punishment, it is transformation. The mystical truth is this: heaven always presses the chosen before heaven promotes the chosen. And you, chosen one, are being pressed because you are being prepared for elevation. Not elevation of ego, but elevation of purpose. The elevation where your life becomes a message, where your presence carries revelation, where your survival becomes testimony, where your discernment becomes weapon, where your obedience becomes protection. In 2026, you will notice something powerful. The very storms that shake others will strengthen you. The pressure that overwhelms others will focus you. The problems that confuse others will clarify you. You will begin to understand why heaven needed you to become this version of yourself, this stable, deep-rooted, spiritually aware version. You are not just being shaped for survival, you are being prepared for leadership. And leadership in the spirit realm is forged through fire. Chosen one, the pressure is sacred, the breaking is holy, and the transformation is unstoppable. Chosen one. As your transformation deepens, heaven is beginning to reveal another layer of your mission, one that may feel both overwhelming and deeply familiar. You are being called into a realm of spiritual authority that few understand, and even fewer are prepared to walk in. This authority is not loud, it is not theatrical, it is not for display or applause. It is a quiet, grounded authority that shifts atmospheres simply through presence. You have felt this rising within you even if you did not have language for it. You've noticed how people come to you with their burdens, their secrets, their confusion. They sense something stabilizing in you, something ancient, something wise, something that feels like home. This is not because you are perfect. It is because you have survived storms that taught you how to stand. Your spirit carries memory of every battle you've endured. Your soul carries wisdom from every valley you crossed. Heaven has been writing leadership into your bones without your permission, and now you're beginning to feel its weight. This is why your tolerance for superficial relationships has vanished. Why small talk feels exhausting. Why shallow environments feel suffocating. Why circles that lack spiritual depth feel misaligned. Heaven is separating you from what cannot match your frequency. Elevation requires insulation. When God's voice becomes louder in your life, distractions become more obvious. Even silence feels different now, not empty, but filled with guidance. This is the refinement of a leader who will soon carry responsibility in a world starved for truth. You've likely felt this tension, wanting to rest, yet feeling a pull to stay spiritually alert. Wanting to withdraw, yet sensing that heaven is asking you to remain conscious. This is because you are no longer being trained as a follower. You are being trained as a watchman, an intercessor, a spiritual strategist. Your discernment is not just for your protection, it is for others. Heaven will give you insight, not only about your path, but about the paths of those connected to you. This is why your dreams have become more detailed, why certain warnings come to you before events unfold, why you feel heaviness that does not belong to you. You are carrying spiritual intelligence for battles that are not even yours. But hear me, chosen one. This responsibility is not a burden, it is an honor. Heaven entrusts this role only to those who have proven their resilience in hidden seasons. You did not break when life expected you to. You did not curse God when circumstances turned dark. You did not lose your faith even when you lost your footing. This is why you were chosen. Not because of your perfection, but because of your endurance. And yet with this mantle comes another mystical truth. The deeper your calling, the narrower your path. You are shedding identities that once felt safe. You are outgrowing dreams that once felt enough. You are stepping into a destiny that requires courage, clarity, and surrender. People may misunderstand your evolution. They may call you distant or detached, but do not shrink yourself to fit where heaven has already outgrown you. Your spirit is stretching into a new dimension, one where your old version cannot survive. As 2026 approaches, heaven will begin to reveal the people who walk with you into the next chapter. Some will come unexpectedly, souls who feel connected to you instantly as if you've known them in another lifetime. Others will fall away quietly, not out of conflict, but out of completion. Their purpose in your story has ended. Release them gently. You are being positioned for divine partnerships, connections, rooted in mission, not convenience. You will meet people whose spirits recognize your calling before their minds understand it. This is the remnant being gathered. Heaven does not send warriors into heavy seasons alone. You will not be unprotected. Chosen one. Everything that is leaving your life now is making space for what is meant to enter. What feels like loss is actually alignment. What feels like separation is actually preparation. You are being placed exactly where heaven needs you. This is not the end of something. It is the beginning of someone, you, chosen one. As the spiritual shifting intensifies, heaven is preparing to unveil one of the most sacred dimensions of your journey, the emergence of your divine identity. Not the identity shaped by survival or shaped by circumstance, but the identity heaven authored before the world ever named you. You have lived many versions of yourself, some built to cope, some built to adapt, some built to endure. But now, as 2026 draws near, all those temporary versions are dissolving. What remains is the you that heaven recognizes, the you that was chosen before struggle, the you that existed in God's blueprint long before your first breath. You are stepping into a self that feels strangely familiar, yet entirely new, because it is the truest form of who you are. You may feel like parts of you are falling away, the desire to please people, the urge to explain yourself, the attachment to old roles, the need for external validation. This is not emotional detachment. This is soul awakening. Heaven is stripping away every false identity, every inherited belief, every limitation you accepted out of fear or conditioning. You are becoming purified in identity because your next assignment requires authenticity, not adaptation. And this identity shift will manifest in your consciousness. You will begin noticing your thoughts changing. You will think more boldly, more spiritually, more prophetically. Your mind will no longer settle for survival thinking because survival is not your destiny. Your spirit will begin speaking louder than your fears. Your intuition will override your doubts. Decisions that once felt difficult will now feel effortless because you are moving from a place of divine knowing. This is a powerful sign. When God elevates identity, He elevates discernment. You will see people for who they truly are, not who they pretend to be. You will feel intentions before they are spoken. You will recognize doors that are traps and dismiss opportunities that were never meant for you. Nothing confuses you more clearly than the Holy Spirit guiding your steps. You may also notice your emotional landscape changing. The reactions you once had no longer surface. The insecurities that once controlled you have weakened. The fears that once defined you are losing their grip. This is because heaven is completing an internal upgrade. You are becoming emotionally unshakable, not numb, but grounded. Not detached, but discerning. Not hardened, but spiritually fortified. And here is a mystical truth many overlook: identity is the key to supernatural authority. When you know who you are, darkness knows who you are. When you know what you carry, fear loses its power. When you know your mission, the enemy loses his strategy. This is why the warfare around your identity has been so intense. The enemy was not afraid of your past. He was afraid of your becoming. And your becoming is happening now. You will feel a shift in your confidence, not arrogance, but spiritual certainty. The quiet conviction that you are walking in divine timing, the assurance that heaven is backing your steps, the internal knowing that your voice matters, your presence matters, your calling matters. You're stepping into a version of yourself that can no longer be manipulated by fear, guilt, or expectation. You're becoming aligned with heaven, and alignment always brings clarity. In 2026, this awakened identity will guide you. You will walk differently. You will pray differently. You will listen differently. You will make decisions not from fear, but from revelation. Your life will become a reflection of your spiritual maturity. And because of this, heaven will trust you with more influence, more insight, more resources, more responsibility. Chosen one, you are not just being prepared for a heavy year, you are being prepared for a holy year. A year where your identity becomes your weapon. A year where your calling becomes visible. A year where you step into the fullness of who God has been shaping you to be. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming someone true. Chosen one. As heaven continues unveiling your divine progression, there is a new dimension you must now understand. Your life is entering a season of supernatural alignment. Not accidental alignment, not circumstantial alignment, but heaven-ordained orchestration where every step you take begins to harmonize with your calling. This is why the events around you have felt strangely coordinated. Why certain opportunities arrive suddenly while others disappear without warning. Why conversations seem divinely timed. Why you keep encountering signs, patterns, and synchronicities that feel too precise to ignore. It is not coincidence, it is choreography. Heaven has placed you in a spiritual current where everything is guiding you toward purpose. For so long you walked through life feeling like you were pushing against invisible resistance. Doors that should have opened stayed closed. Relationships that seemed promising fell apart. Plans you invested in dissolved without reason. But now something has shifted. You're beginning to see momentum. You're beginning to feel movement. Heaven is no longer testing your patience. It's preparing your position. You are entering a phase where things will begin to make sense. The delays will reveal their purpose. The losses will reveal their protection. The confusion will reveal its direction. This alignment isn't random. Heaven aligns those who have surrendered to the process. You have said yes in seasons where others said why. You endured pruning without complaining. You stayed faithful in obscurity. You maintained integrity when no one was watching, and heaven honors that. Your obedience has unlocked alignment. And with this alignment comes divine timing, a timing that cannot be rushed, manipulated, or hindered. Heaven's timing moves like a river. Once you step into it, the current begins carrying you faster than your own effort ever could. That is why you felt an internal acceleration, why your heart senses urgency, why your spirit feels like you're on the edge of something monumental. Heaven is quickening your path. You're being moved into rooms you didn't ask for, opportunities you didn't chase, blessings you didn't bargain for. You're stepping into the appointed time, the moment where everything heaven promised begins taking shape. But alignment does not only bring blessing, it also brings exposure. As God aligns you with your destiny, He disaligns you from what no longer serves it. And this is where many chosen ones misinterpret the process. When people fade away, you think you've done something wrong. When relationships crumble, you think you failed. When connections dissolve, you think you're unworthy. But the truth is, this heaven will sever anything that threatens your alignment. You may not understand why someone is being pulled out of your life, but heaven sees what you cannot. Some people cannot go where you are going. Some connections cannot survive the weight of your calling. Some voices will only create confusion in your next chapter. And so heaven intervenes. You are not being abandoned, you are being refined. And as alignment deepens, something else begins to awaken inside you, a supernatural confidence. Not confidence in your ego, but confidence in your purpose. A certainty that your steps are guided. A knowing that you are being shaped for something greater. You will begin walking with a calm authority that unsettles darkness. You will move with conviction even when details are unclear. You will trust God's timing even when your own emotions waver. This confidence is part of your mantle. It is part of the identity heaven is refining within you. Chosen One 2026 will be a year where alignment becomes visible, where destiny becomes tangible, where your spiritual maturity becomes undeniable. You are stepping into a reality where your prayers, your preparation, and your perseverance begin bearing fruit. The alignment you've been sensing is real. You are not drifting. You are being directed, and heaven is guiding every step. Chosen One. As this divine alignment anchors deeper within you, heaven is now preparing you for another level of transformation, the unlocking of your spiritual authority. This authority isn't something you earn, it isn't something you learn, it is something awakened through refinement, obedience, and surrender. You have carried it your whole life without fully realizing it. The trials you endured were not designed to break you, they were designed to introduce you to your own power. There is a reason the enemy fought your identity so violently, a reason you battled self-doubt, a reason you felt unworthy, a reason you questioned your value. If you truly recognized who you are in the spirit realm, nothing could intimidate you, nothing could silence you, nothing could stop you. And now, as you step into this next season, heaven is revealing the truth. You are more powerful than the battles you survived. This awakening will not be loud. It will not be boastful. It will be quiet, deep, and unshakable. You will no longer react to attacks the same way. You will not panic the way you once did. You will not fear the things that used to keep you up at night. When pressure rises, you will feel grounded. When chaos erupts, you will feel centered. When uncertainty appears, you will feel guided. This is what authority feels like: internal clarity in external confusion. But authority is not only internal, it manifests outwardly. You will begin speaking differently, not louder, but clearer. Your words will carry weight. When you speak peace, peace will come. When you speak truth, deception will crumble. When you pray, atmospheres will shift. When you set boundaries, darkness will retreat. Heaven is activating a spiritual command within you that will allow you to govern your environment rather than be shaped by it. People will notice the change. They will sense a new presence around you, stronger, deeper, more focused. Some will be drawn to it. Others will be intimidated by it. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Your authority is not arrogance. It is assignment. There are people waiting for the version of you that heaven is now unveiling. And here is a revelation many overlook. Authority attracts responsibility. Heaven does not grant power without purpose. You will be entrusted with spiritual insight, prophetic understanding, and divine strategy, not just for yourself, but for others. Your vision will expand, your influence will grow, your voice will reach those who need guidance, and you may feel the weight of that, but do not fear it. You were built for it. Look at your life. Every painful experience sharpened your compassion. Every betrayal strengthened your discernment. Every disappointment deepened your wisdom. Every season of waiting trained your patience. These qualities are not accidental. They are ingredients of spiritual authority. Heaven has been preparing you for leadership long before you recognized yourself as a leader. And 2026 will be the year where this authority becomes undeniable. You will step into situations where others feel lost, and your clarity will unlock solutions. You will enter spaces where tension is heavy, and your presence will diffuse it. You will cross paths with people who are spiritually asleep, and your awakening will stir theirs. Chosen one, you are not stepping into a year of heaviness as a victim, you are stepping into it as a vessel carrying light where darkness thickens, a vessel carrying truth where deception increases, a vessel carrying hope where fear spreads. This authority is your inheritance, and heaven is trusting you with it. You are stepping into your rightful place. You are stepping into spiritual command. You are stepping into the fullness of your calling. Chosen one, as your spiritual authority continues awakening, heaven is now drawing your attention to a deeper mystery unfolding within and around you, the mystery of divine positioning. This is the stage where everything in your life begins to subtly rearrange itself to reflect heaven's blueprint rather than your own. It can feel confusing at first because nothing seems stable. Your preferences shift, your longings evolve, your priorities reorder, and even your sense of identity moves like a living river. But this is not instability. This is spiritual recalibration. Heaven is positioning you with a precision you cannot yet comprehend. Every conversation, every encounter, every delay, every unexpected shift is synchronizing your path with the timeline heaven has written over your life. You may feel like you are being stretched in multiple directions, but this stretching is expanding your capacity. Heaven would not enlarge what it did not intend to fill. This positioning is why you've been sensing distance from places, people, and patterns that once felt comfortable. It is not betrayal, it is detachment. Heaven is weaning you off anything that lowers your spiritual frequency or compromises your discernment. Even your internal reactions have changed. Things that once triggered you barely move you now. Situations that used to confuse you now feel transparent. People who once held emotional power over you no longer influence your clarity. This is not indifference, it is growth. You are rising above old emotional prisons and stepping into a vantage point where you see life, not through wounds, but through wisdom. During this stage of positioning, you may notice the sacred rhythm of divine redirection. Something inside you says, don't go there, don't respond yet. Wait a moment, slow down, or move now. These whispers are not random. They are signals. Heaven is softening your ears to spiritual cues that guide your footsteps before danger appears or opportunity arrives. You are learning to interpret divine instincts as clearly as spoken language. This is the training of someone who is called to lead others through seasons of global confusion. Heaven teaches leaders through intuition before it teaches them through instruction. And here is something you must understand. Your path may look different from those around you. You will feel called to decisions that others won't understand. You will feel drawn to silence when others chase noise. You will feel compelled to wait when others rush. You will sense danger where others see opportunity, and see opportunity where others see nothing at all. Do not doubt this difference. You are walking a path custom designed for your mantle. Heaven does not use generic training for chosen vessels. Everything is tailored. As positioning becomes clearer, you will begin experiencing divine interruptions, moments when heaven shifts your direction unexpectedly. A sudden opportunity appears out of nowhere. A closed door forces you into a new environment. A delay prevents you from being in the wrong place at the wrong time. A conversation changes your entire perspective. These interruptions are heaven's interventions. They are signs that your life is under active divine management. You are not walking blindly. You are being guided deliberately. And this leads to one of the most profound realities of your journey. Heaven is positioning you not only for spiritual authority, but for divine influence. Influence that transcends titles. Influence that affects atmospheres. Influence that awakens hearts. Influence that brings clarity where confusion reigns. Influence that brings stability where fear spreads. Influence that arises not from ambition, but from authenticity. You have endured enough trials to speak with emotional honesty. You have walked through enough storms to lead with compassion. You have been humbled enough to lead without ego. This is why heaven is positioning you now. You are ready to carry influence without being corrupted by it. Chosen one. Divine positioning is not comfortable, but it is necessary. It is heaven's way of aligning your inner world with your outer mission. Every shift is intentional. Every redirection is purposeful. You are being placed exactly where you must stand in 2026, not as a wanderer, but as a warrior, a guide, a voice, a vessel. You are not drifting. You are being delivered into destiny. Chosen one. Now that heaven has positioned you, there is another mystery unfolding beneath the surface, your season of supernatural expansion. This expansion is not merely growth. It is not the gradual development you've experienced in the past. It is the sudden, rapid blossoming that follows years of pressure pruning and preparation. It is the moment when everything inside you that has been quietly cultivated begins to emerge with force. You may feel this expansion within you already, an inner stretching and increased hunger for purpose, a deeper awareness of your gifts, the rising sense that you are about to step into something too big for your current container. This expansion is heaven signaling that confinement has ended. But supernatural expansion often begins internally, long before it becomes visible externally. You might feel a strong shift in your beliefs about yourself. Old insecurities dissolve without trying. Old fears lose their grip. Old wounds lose their sting. You start thinking differently, bolder, clearer, more spiritually grounded. You begin seeing yourself as heaven sees you rather than through the distortions of your past. This shift is not ego, it is alignment. Heaven is expanding your identity before expanding your influence. You will also notice your creativity awakening. Ideas flow easily. Solutions appear quickly. Inspiration strikes without warning. This is because your spirit is stepping into a higher cognitive dimension. Heaven is increasing your mental capacity to match your future responsibilities. You may feel drawn to new skills, new projects, or new forms of expression. Do not ignore these impulses. They are invitations. Heaven expands those who respond. And with this expansion will come divine opportunities, moments that feel too perfectly timed to be random. You will meet people who accelerate your growth. You will encounter ideas that shift your direction. You will step into spaces that feel strangely prepared for you. Heaven will send invitations that confirm what your spirit already sensed. This expansion is not accidental. It is strategic. Heaven is increasing your reach because your voice, your presence, your light are needed in places you have not yet touched. But expansion also requires discernment. As your influence grows, so will the number of voices around you. Some will cheer, some will question, some will misunderstand. Some will try to attach themselves for the wrong reasons. You must protect your spirit in this season, not by isolating yourself, but by staying deeply rooted in your identity and your mission. Expansion without grounding becomes exposure. But expansion rooted in identity becomes elevation. As heaven expands your influence, you will notice certain patterns. People will begin seeking your wisdom. Strangers will open their hearts to you. Others will come to you for clarity, comfort, and perspective. This is not coincidence. They are responding to the frequency of your spirit. Your journey has shaped you into someone who carries emotional safety and spiritual depth. This attracts those who are lost, hungry, or awakening. You are becoming a lighthouse, steady, radiant, impossible to ignore. And yet, expansion is not only about people coming to you, it is also about you being sent. Heaven will open doors into new territories, new environments, new networks, new assignments. Some of these spaces will feel intimidating because they stretch your capacity, but you must walk through them anyway. Expansion requires courage. Heaven does not increase your platform without increasing your responsibility. Chosen one, supernatural expansion is your next chapter. It is the manifestation of everything heaven has been preparing inside you. It is the moment where hidden seeds break through the soil, the moment where unseen growth becomes undeniable, the moment where destiny becomes visible. You are not expanding for your own sake. You are expanding because heaven needs your light in more places, your wisdom in more hearts, your presence in more battles. Your spirit is no longer confined. Your destiny is no longer delayed. Your expansion has already begun. Chosen one. As you step deeper into this supernatural expansion, heaven now reveals another profound dimension of your journey, the realm of divine communication. This is the season where heaven begins speaking to you in ways you cannot dismiss, ignore, or deny. The whispers become louder. The patterns become clearer. The signs become more intentional. The messages become more intimate. And your spirit, now awakened and strengthened, begins to interpret the language of heaven with unprecedented clarity. You will start recognizing that some thoughts are not your own, some ideas do not originate from you, some warnings do not come from fear, and some inspirations do not stem from imagination. They come from alignment. They come from the Spirit. They come from the unseen realm, guiding you into clarity, protection, and preparation. This is why your intuition has sharpened. This is why your dreams have intensified. This is why certain repetitions catch your attention, numbers, symbols, moments that echo themselves throughout your day. You are not imagining them. You are not overthinking. You are being spoken to. But divine communication comes with responsibility. Heaven cannot entrust revelation to a distracted mind. That is why distraction has been breaking off your life. That is why noise has become unbearable. That is why shallow conversations now drain you instantly. Your spirit is rejecting what no longer aligns because heaven is preparing you to receive higher instructions. Revelation cannot rest where there is constant chaos. Heaven speaks clearest to those who cultivate internal stillness. And this stillness is not the absence of sound, but the presence of spiritual alignment. The more you honor silence, the more heaven fills it. You will also notice communication through circumstances, doors closing before harm reaches you, paths blocked before you take missteps, relationships ending before you lose focus. This is heaven's way of speaking through intervention rather than explanation. Not every lesson is taught through words. Some are taught through protection. When heaven rescues you from something before you recognize the danger that is communication, when heaven stops you from going where your heart thought it wanted to go, that is communication. When heaven creates discomfort in spaces you have outgrown, that is communication. But perhaps the most sacred form of divine communication is the internal shift, the feeling of resonance when something is true, the feeling of dissonance when something is false, the feeling of activation when something is meant for you. This intuitive knowing is the voice of the Spirit inside you. This knowing is what will protect you in 2026. This knowing is what will differentiate truth from deception. This knowing is what will lead you into divine opportunities without fear. You will feel drawn toward the direction heaven wants you to walk and repelled from the direction heaven wants you to avoid. Trust these internal movements. The Spirit guides through both desire and discomfort. As your sensitivity increases, you might experience moments that feel unusual, sensing someone's intentions before they speak, feeling the spiritual energy of a room before you enter it, knowing the emotional condition of someone without them expressing it. This is not a burden. It is discernment. You are expanding into a prophetic awareness that will make you a stabilizing presence in chaotic times. People will come to you not because you have all the answers, but because your spirit carries clarity. You will be able to see through confusion, speak peace into panic, and interpret the silent cries of those around you. This level of awareness is both gift and assignment. And yet, divine communication is not given to inflate your ego. It is given to elevate your mission. Heaven speaks to those who listen, and heaven reveals to those who will steward revelation with humility. You are being entrusted with spiritual intelligence because you have demonstrated emotional maturity. You have proven that you do not use insight to control people, but to protect them. You do not use discernment to judge people, but to understand them. You do not use revelation to elevate yourself, but to uplift others. This is why heaven is speaking to you more. Or, chosen one. You are entering a phase where divine communication will guide your steps more than logic. You will receive insight before information. You will sense shifts before they happen. You will know what to do, even when circumstances offer no explanation. Do not fear this, do not doubt this. This is heaven training you for your prophetic assignment. You are becoming a vessel of divine intelligence, a carrier of sacred insight, a messenger who interprets the whispers of heaven for those who cannot yet hear. And this communication is not a visitation, it is becoming your lifestyle. Chosen one. Now that divine communication is awakening within you, heaven draws you into another profound phase, the season of supernatural courage. This courage is unlike anything you have ever felt. It is not emotional bravery. It is not human confidence. It is not the kind of strength that rises from adrenaline or motivation. It is sacred boldness, an inner fire placed in you by the Spirit, a fire that activates when you are standing in your divine identity and walking in your divine assignment. This courage will feel different because it does not come from you, it comes through you. And when heaven releases it, fear loses authority over your life. For years, fear tried to convince you that you were unqualified, unprepared, too broken, too flawed. Fear kept you small, silent, hesitant, questioning yourself, even when heaven had already confirmed you. But in this new season, fear will not be able to follow you. It will try, but it will fail. The version of you that fear once controlled no longer exists. You have crossed the threshold of spiritual maturity, and once you cross it, you cannot return to who you were. The shaking you endured built the courage you now carry. Supernatural courage reveals itself in subtle but undeniable ways. Where you once apologized for your presence, you will now walk with purpose. Where you once hesitated to speak truth, you will now speak with clarity. Where you once feared rejection, you will now embrace redirection. Where you once doubted your capability, you will now operate with quiet authority. And it won't be because everything suddenly feels easy. It will be because your spirit has become stronger than your fear. This courage will push you into places you never imagined entering. You will find yourself taking risks you avoided for years. You will step into conversations that once intimidated you. You will pursue dreams you previously talked yourself out of. Opportunities that once overwhelmed you will now feel like assignments. And this shift will not happen gradually, it will happen quickly. Courage always arrives suddenly because it is activated by revelation, not by repetition. Once you realize who you truly are, courage rises instantly. But supernatural courage does not only move you forward, it also separates you from what dims your light. You will feel an unexplainable boldness to disconnect from relationships that drain you, habits that weaken you, and environments that mute your spirit. You will no longer tolerate what threatens your peace. This is not selfishness. This is spiritual protection. Courage teaches you to guard your anointing, not just your time. You are no longer trying to fit into places where you were never meant to belong. You are no longer shrinking to avoid conflict. You are no longer weakening yourself to make others comfortable. Courage will make you choose alignment over approval. And with this courage will come confrontation, not with people, but with the parts of yourself that once held you back. The version of you that feared failure will be confronted by the version of you that now expects favor. The version of you that clung to the familiar will be confronted by the version of you that embraces the unknown. The version of you that waited for permission will be confronted by the version of you that now understands you were chosen before you were known. This inner confrontation is not war, it is emergence. The courageous you is being born. Chosen. One supernatural courage is the evidence that heaven is preparing you for leadership. The world does not need more loud voices. It needs more brave ones. And bravery is not measured in volume, but in obedience. Bravery is choosing movement when fear recommends paralysis. Bravery is stepping out even when you only see the first step. Bravery is trusting heaven's strategy, even when you do not yet see heaven's outcome. You are stepping into this bravery now, and this courage is not temporary, it is not seasonal, it is not emotional, it is foundational. Heaven is anchoring it into your spirit because you will need it for what is coming. Your mission will demand strength. Your anointing will attract resistance. Your authority will intimidate darkness, and your purpose will stretch you into bigger spaces. Courage is what will keep you steady. Chosen one. You are becoming fearless, not because the world is becoming easier, but because heaven is making you stronger. This courage is your inheritance, your weapon, your shield, and your signature. It is the mark of someone heaven has chosen to walk boldly where others tremble. And now you carry it. Chosen one. As supernatural courage settles into your spirit, heaven now ushers you into one of the most sacred transitions of your entire journey, the activation of your divine mission. This is not the beginning of your purpose, because your purpose was written long before your birth. This is the unveiling of it. The moment where what has been hidden becomes visible, where internal preparation becomes external expression, where prophetic potential becomes prophetic assignment. You will feel this activation like a spiritual ignition, a flame rising within you that no longer allows you to stay silent, passive, or invisible. Something inside you knows it is time, and heaven confirms it. Every season leading up to this one, the pruning, the shaking, the silence, the spiritual warfare, the isolation, the refinement was preparing you for this exact moment. Nothing was wasted, not a single tear, not a single disappointment, not a single delay. Every pain became preparation. Every setback became strategy. Every storm sculpted the vessel you have now become. Divine mission does not begin in strength. It begins in surrender. It doesn't begin in clarity. It begins in trust. And because you have surrendered, because you have trusted, heaven now calls you forward. Your mission is not a task. It is a mantle. It rests on you, not beside you. It breathes through you, not around you. It will guide your decisions, shape your relationships, and reorder your priorities. You will no longer have the luxury of pretending you are ordinary. You will no longer be able to dim yourself to fit into small spaces. You will no longer be permitted to hide among the crowds. When heaven activates your mission, identity becomes non-negotiable. You no longer ask, "Who am I?" You declare, "I am chosen." You no longer wonder, "Am I ready?" You acknowledge, "God has prepared me." You no longer fear, "What if I fail?" You recognize heaven finishes what heaven starts. And with this awakening comes another shift. You will begin feeling compelled towards certain actions you cannot explain. A pull to speak when you once stayed quiet. A pull to create where you once hesitated. A pull to move where you once waited. A pull to build what once felt impossible. Mission always begins with movement, and your spirit already feels the urgency. You are not stepping into a casual assignment. You are stepping into the reason your soul incarnated in this generation. You were sent for such a time as this, precisely because your spirit carries what the world will desperately need in the days ahead: clarity, stability, purity, discernment, courage, and truth. Heaven does not activate missions lightly. Missions are entrusted. Missions are inherited. Missions are revealed when a soul has proven it can withstand pressure without breaking temptation, without falling, and isolation without losing faith. You have passed tests you didn't even know you were taking. You have survived battles no one saw. You have grown in ways that only heaven witnessed. And because of that, heaven now says, "Step forward." Your mission will not always feel glamorous. At times, it will feel heavy. At times, it will feel lonely. At times, it will require obedience that contradicts logic. But it will never feel empty. Mission brings meaning to suffering, direction to confusion, purpose to waiting, and power to surrender. It gives your life a sacred aim, something larger than comfort, reputation, or applause. And here is what you must understand. Divine mission is not about what you do. It is about who you become. Heaven is shaping you into someone who carries light into darkness without being dimmed, someone who brings truth into deception without being deceived, someone who guides others without losing themselves. This is your calling. This is your mantle. This is your moment. Chosen one, your mission is not ahead of you. It has already begun. You are stepping into it with every breath, every decision, every act of obedience. Heaven is with you. Heaven is guiding you. Heaven has appointed you. And now you rise. On Chosen One. As this message comes to a close, stand still for a moment and feel what is happening in your spirit. You are not leaving this video the same way you entered. A supernatural transfer has already begun, and you are now standing in your exact Kairos moment, your divinely appointed time. Even as the world approaches a heavy year, you are stepping into a season of uncommon clarity, protection, and elevation. The weight of 2026 is not coming to crush you, it is coming to confirm you. You have been prepared, refined, strengthened, and anointed for such a time as this. What others fear, you will navigate with grace. What others lose, you will rise above. What others call instability, you will recognize as divine alignment. I speak this blessing over you. Now may your spirit remain anchored, your discernment sharpened, and your steps guided by the wisdom of heaven. May peace rest upon your home, strength rise within your body, and provision flow to you in ways that reveal God's hand clearly. You are covered, you are called, you are chosen. As you move forward, stay aligned, stay faithful, stay watchful, and carry gratitude for what is unfolding, because the glory assigned to your life is greater than the shaking ahead. When you walk, walk with holy confidence. When you pray, pray with authority. When you speak, speak with the knowing that heaven backs you. If your spirit agrees, comment 333 as your prophetic confirmation. Share this message with another chosen one who needs awakening, and subscribe so you remain connected to this flow of anointing. Go now, chosen one, strengthened, covered, commissioned. Your future is already shifting in your favor.